Okay, in the previous video we introduced the concept of modes, and I wanted to take a break from modes to talk about translation theory. Translation theory is a technique that I've been working on to provide framework for movement of spin-centric driving styles. It's been improving the consistency of my performance a lot. Basically it's providing guidelines and framework for movement of the poi around my body, kind of, and sort of how I draw things with the poi as they spin. So I guess the first thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that you can do all of this with any type of poi movement. You can do a spin-centric move, like a unit circle type move, and you can move it into different squares. You can also do this with floaters, and you can do it with pendulums. So you can kind of move the pendulums through the squares and things like that. So I have some pretty heavy theory on this. So mainly I want to focus on spin-centric moves, things with unit circles involving rotation of the poi. Regardless of the driving style, we can move. There's two options when it comes to moving. We can either move from one square to an adjacent one, or we can move from one square into an opposing square on the opposite side of the grid. I refer to adjacent square movements as a minor translation, and I refer to full translations across to the other side of the grid as a major translation. There's two ways to do minor translations, and there's two ways to do major translations. It depends on when you enter the translation. So if I take a poi and I move it in the logical time, which would be when the poi is moving down in the direction I want to translate. Let's say I want to translate to this square. As the poi comes down, it's going to create a little like ellipse or floater kind of thing. And if the poi is going up towards the direction I want to go in that way, maybe, I can do that. And I can do this for the full length of the grid, or I can do it for only an adjacent square, like this. I can do it diagonally, like this, which, by the way, is where we get our anti-spin flower. It's just for in-spin minor translations. This would be referred to as an in-spin translation. So, or we can do it anti-spin, like this. And basically the framework that you can use to help clean it up is to keep in mind that the anti-spin pedal is very small and pointy, and it lines up with the division line between the two adjacent squares that you're moving between, like so. So, for any given translation in a spin-centric way, you can either do a minor translation in spin, like this, or you can do a minor translation anti-spin, like this. So anti-spin, in-spin, in-spin, anti-spin. Those are all minor translations. You can also do a major translation in two ways. You can do it in-spin, or you can do it minor plus minor. A minor translation plus a minor translation equals a major translation. So this would be a two-step anti-spin, in-spin translation. Now, where it starts getting interesting is when you put the two poi together. If you do it in the same time, it's this exact same thing. I can do, say, a major translation, like this, in-spin, or I can do a major translation, anti-spin, anti-spin, spin, like that, anti-spin, spin. But what really starts getting interesting is when you do things in split time. If you're doing a split time poi move like a buzzsaw, and you want to move the buzzsaw around, basically what you need to keep in mind is that while one poi is in the position to do an in-spin translation. The other one is in the position to do the anti-spin translation. So when you put that together, you end up with these sort of spin-anti-spin groups, sort of spin-anti-spin dualities that occur. So what I've been working on a lot lately is cleaning up my translations with poi and split time, like this. And it's allowed me to start playing with a lot of really interesting things. Stuff like this, like this, like this kind of deal. Just weird kind of concepts where the poi, as you can see, are moving into their respective squares. Like that. These are all translation-related ideas that I've had. Like that kind of stuff. A good way to improve the your cleanliness in translation using this framework is to, again, keep in mind that the anti-spin pedals are on the line of separation between two squares. If you keep that in mind, when you do your translation, you can sort of do like an up up, down down, up up. Oh, that's wrong now. Down down, up up, down down, like that. And you can do this in all of the different, up and down diagonal movements and things like that. Let's see, what else? Okay. Last thing I'll probably go over here is the 8-step pattern for this. There's an 8-step not cap pattern, but there's an 8-step pattern that we can use to exercise these translations. So what I like to do is start in split time and go through all the different cross mode translations. So that would be split time. I can anti-spin, translate across, anti-spin, translate across, anti-spin, translate across, and anti-spin, and translate. And now I'm back where I started. So the 8-step pattern for this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. And it's a good exercise for getting, well, aside from it looking cool when it's on fire, it's a very useful pattern to be able to do because you can go through all the different combinations. You can also, of course, do it in butterfly. So if I'm in butterfly, I can do the same thing. I can do anti-spin, translate, anti-spin, translate, anti-spin, translate, anti-spin, translate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these, of course, are all in cross mode. You can see the way they're aligned. So if I, let's say I'm in the same direction, I'm doing the things that we've been going over so far as far as timing is concerned. I'm in same time, same time, same time, same time, and now I'm in split time, and now I can translate. Now I can go into something else. Now I'm here, and I can translate here. So you can see how that is starting to come together into a useful framework for moving the poi. Like that. So, and then of course in opposite direction we can do the same thing. So what ends up is doing timing changes like this. I can kind of, this kind of thing, and then I can just sort of start breaking this kind of stuff down into its, patterns. Okay, so that's it for translation. The next thing we're going to talk about is stall theory. So I'll see you then.